Okay, this is Mr. Pettijohn here, and I am here to discuss the curse and my opinion that the mummy is a good guy, or at least just the victim of a curse. Now, one thing that I know Mr. Garvin wants you to know as well, and he might say this in his as well, is that a lot of times in poetry it's ambiguous, and that just means that it doesn't come out and tell you one thing or the other. You kind of have to use your clues, and you can have more than one opinion. Um, we wouldn't know unless we asked Josh Ritter himself when he wrote the song what he was thinking. So I just, made some of these lines bold just to kind of talk about some of the evidence that I found for him being good, or at least just a victim of the curse. So the first one is the very first line. He falls in love at first sight. I think that's pretty strong. Comes out and says his feelings, not how he seemed to feel, but how he was really feeling. This line right here, what beautiful lines and how full of life. What a face to wake up to. Right there, it's just giving you more insight into how he feels. He's noticing the lines on her face, that she's full of life. What a face to wake up to. That's pretty important. And then I thought this was important as well. He holds back a sigh as she touches his arm. He obviously felt something. So I think this one's pretty strong in favor of him being a good guy. The next stanza talks about them going uh, back to wherever they're going, to the museum. He learns her language. It says he loves making her laugh. There's that word loves again. Um, that is something that brings him pleasure and joy. The first time he moves, it's her hair that he touches. I think this is pretty strong too, because he hasn't moved in thousands of years, and the first thing he does when he can move after thousands of years of being a dead mummy is to reach out and touch her hair. So I think that's a pretty strong case right there. She asks, "Are you cursed?" He says, "I think I'm cured." So he feels like she has cured him. And then down here, uh, when they're hanging out in the museum, they're building a relationship, and I feel like that is important to proving that he's not there to try to kill her. They're actually in love and in a relation, building this strong friendship or whatever you want to call it. He helps her out with her book, um, and then he's been laying there dead or pretending to be dead in the museum. It says, then one day it's too much. He decides to get up, and chaos ensues. He walks outside to find her. So he can't take it laying down there anymore. He wants to go outside and find her. And then I thought this one was really interesting. Her face looks too pale. Because he knows her face. That lets us know that he really knows her face, and he spent a lot of time with her. And to him, it's too pale. It's just not right. And that's just more proof for me, at least, that he's a good guy. It says, but she's happy to see him as they walk. He supports her, so he's helping her out. She's getting older. Um, and one thing I noticed in here is that it doesn't give you a timeline. It doesn't say, uh, 2 years later, she's looking older. It could have been many, many years. I don't know. There's no way really to tell. Um, but I just thought that was interesting that you kind of assume that it's immediate just because it jumps right to it in the next stanza, but we don't really know how much time has actually elapsed. Um, but it's probably because of the curse. Let's see. So they tour the nation. He meets other women, and I think um, the reason for this part that he meets other women is that she's slowing down, and it's not like he's consciously killing her, but she's slowing down, and he's becoming famous because he's touring the nation. So yeah, he's going to meet other people. It doesn't say he developed relationships with them, just that he met them. He still speaks of her fondly, and all their nights in the museum. So he still remembers that and thinks fondly of that. And then the last two things, at the end it says, well, she asks, why pyramids? And he says, think of them as an immense invitation. And to me, that's not, ha ha ha, I'm playing a joke on you, an immense invitation to get cursed. I think it's more of an invitation to have this chance at something that you would have never experienced if you hadn't come, if you hadn't been drawn here by the pyramids. This relationship with a stinking mummy that is coming to life. Um, and even if the consequence is her dying, I don't think it was the mummy that was um, consciously doing that to her. It was, it was the curse, not the mummy. And in the very end, it says, then he kissed her and hoped that she'd forget that question. I think that he wants it to be real, and I think this line shows it. Forget about the curse is kind of what he's saying to her. Forget about the curse. What we had is real. And so these are uh, the things that I found in this song that make me think that the mummy is at least a good guy, or a victim of this curse, but not that he is just this evil jerk that's using her to get life. I don't think that can really be supported in here anywhere. Um, but I think there's a lot of support for him being good. So there it is. Good luck, Garvin.